Welcome everybody to another edition of the New England Region Residential Real Estate Council Mastermind Mondays. A little quick lunch break that we've been taking all through the pandemic. We're well over a year now. We're going to be going into our second year pretty soon. Very excited to be here today with some members of my team, Nora Lynch, our education chair, Cheryl DiGirolamo, our immediate past president, of course, our CTO, Christine McClellan, and other friends and family from our New England region and other CRS members. But I'm most excited to welcome today's guest, Jack Cotton, realtor extraordinaire, who is with us here on beautiful Cape Cod out of Osterville, Massachusetts. So I'll just give a really quick, brief overview of Jack's career. I'd love to have him fill us kind of in, but Jack has been a realtor really most of his entire life. I believe this is his only career. He had his own brokerage, Jack Cotton Real Estate, for many, many years, and then sold that with great fanfare to Sotheby's years ago. And he has continued to educate nationally and internationally realtors of all brands about the luxury real estate market. He's created an absolutely enormous amount of content. He's also written a couple of books, one a special one about his dog, which he may talk about today, but he's here. Oh, there's right there. He is here to talk to us a little bit about some of the current market conditions, market trends. And then he really thought it might be fun to open up the questions today, which is always kind of great. We also have an event with Jack this month on June 17th and 18th, his luxury class, 8-hour RRC credit, which we'll talk about in a moment. But let me just turn this over right now to Jack. Welcome, 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 Jack. We are so thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm hoping you can hear me okay. And yeah, I'm not going to say too much about my past, except that we just finished the month of May, which means I've just finished 47 years of the business. I'm starting year 48 right now. And I will say that this is my first pandemic. And so hopefully my last, but somehow you never know what's around the corner, so I don't know. And the pandemic is so funny, like back in March of 2020, I really thought the world was coming to an end. I thought we were done. I thought we were taking 2 years off. I sold bonds and T-bills and put 2 years of expenses in my checkbook because I figured nothing was going to be coming in for at least 2 years. I thought we were done for. And so imagine my surprise when that is not what occurred. It was just crazy. But then I hearkened back to a situation that occurred before the pandemic started. I was talking to a guy. We had a house for sale and it had multiple offers even before the pandemic. And we don't really get a lot of multiple offer situations here. They're not all that common. And this was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 million or something like that. It needed a lot of work and stuff. But anyway, I happened to be out on the street in front of my office wandering around, and I ran into the guy whose bid was not accepted. He's the guy who lost in the bidding war of this fairly expensive property. And I'm not going to say a whole lot because I can't really, divulge privacy, but I'll just let you know that this man was the number 2 person at probably the largest mutual fund company in the world. So they make their money managing money for other people in the stock market. And they have trillions of dollars under management. This is like the number 2 guy. So I'm like, so I'm really sorry it didn't work out. I'm really sorry you didn't get this house. And but I'm just curious though, because you already have a house and you have a great house. Why did you bid on this place? He said, well, and keep in mind, this guy's investing your 401k money, all right? And he goes, well, T-bills are paying nothing. Bonds are zero. Bonds, unless you want to buy junk bonds, I don't want to buy junk bonds. They're bad. The stock market is pretty much overbought. And this is a couple of years ago, imagine now. And so I think the best place for money right now is real estate, especially here in this village of ours, because maybe it won't go up, but it's a safe place. It's a safe harbor. It's a safe haven. And so I came up with this little phrase based upon that conversation. And I think about it all the time as we went through the pandemic, because since that chance encounter on the main street of Osterville, I have said that real estate in a rare and beautiful place, whether it's your rare and beautiful place or our rare and beautiful place here on Cape Cod, is the other gold. It's gold you can use. So you can go and buy gold, which that's the only thing I bought in March. I was so scared back in March of 2020. I put 2 years of cash on my checkbook of expenses, and I did spend money on gold, a lot of gold, and that worked out. But gold is stupid, really, when you think about it. It just sits there, and it weighs a lot. You got to have a place to put it, and you have to worry about someone coming to get it. I mean, it's like, I get it, but I don't get it. On the other hand, real estate in a rare and beautiful place is a great store of value that you can actually use. You can build memories in. You can escape all this madness in as you come here to Cape Cod. So, and when you think about real estate in general, and we're talking about inflationary times here, if you haven't noticed, have you noticed? I've noticed things are getting more expensive lately. Anyway, I got 2 lobster rolls the other night to go. It's $80. I'm like, and they were like this long. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? Anyway, yeah, things are going up in price. So is there any greater coming together of natural resources on the planet than a house? There's copper, there's lead, there's metal, there's aluminum, there's wood. Wood is the most precious thing. Think about this, you know, an acorn has to, or a pine needle, what do you call those things? Pine cones have to fall into the ground, and a tree has to sprout up over years and years and years. And it's the most incredible miracle in the world that, you know, this whole world's a miracle, but trees and wood is such a miracle, but it's hard to get the stuff. And so you put all that together and you build a house. Is there any greater coming together of natural resources than there is in a house? And then you take the fact that a craftsperson, whether it's a framer or a finished carpenter or a cabinet maker or a plumber or an electrician, they're in the house for a certain number of hours, racking up time to wire the house and plumb the house and finish the house. But it took them years and years and years of practice and apprenticeship and skill development to know what to do in the hours they're spending in that house. That's all an asset that I think is really going to be a hedge against inflation going forward. So I think that the conversation I had on the street of Osterville has become even way more true than I ever thought. Real estate is the other gold. It is gold you can use. It's a safe harbor. And this guy's like, I don't even care if it doesn't go up. I just know it's not going to go down that much. It may go down a little bit, but it's going to come back up again. And this guy is making money investing your 401k money. When it's time to invest his money, he's buying real estate in a rare and beautiful place. And now we've seen so many people following suit. And by the way, as we research the people who buy real estate here in our beautiful area of the world, we know that 85% of our buyers come from the financial services industry, which I've always found so fascinating, because people who make their money all day long, trading stocks, running hedge funds, private equity companies, they invest their money in real estate in a rare and beautiful place. So I forget where I'm going with this, but anyway, that's my pandemic speech. And that's why I think that there's been this real flight to safety. And the same sort of thing happened after 9/11. I remember after 9/11, that horrible, horrible event, and same thing, I thought we were done for. And I did not have a conversation with a guy on the street after 9/11, but I had something else happen to me that told me everything was going to be okay in the world of real estate. And I went to the little shopping center here on Cape Cod, we call it Mashpee Commons. And every store, every restaurant was deserted, except for one. In this one store, you had to wait in line to get in the store, and the line went down the sidewalk and around the corner. And that store was William Sonoma. People were spending more time at home, and they're thinking about upgrades, whether it's pots and pans or a new blender or a new family room, or you know what, let's just get a whole new house here. We need a bigger yard. Real estate is a flight to safety, time and time and time again. The pandemic has proven that in spades. Real estate is a flight to safety. And what's important for people, what they really want is amplified. They want privacy, they want security, they want views, they want space. They want a safe haven. They want an oasis from the storm of life. And I think back to the last celebration we had in Orlando, and that guy who was a futurist. Think about, if you think, I forgot his name, but think about that futurist who spoke at the celebration back in Orlando, and everything he said that was sort of going to impact the future of real estate has also come true in spades. People are caring about health and wellness. People are caring about family. People are caring about technology. People are caring about ethics. This is all amplified by the pandemic, and we are gladly, blessedly, in the right place at the right time in the real estate business.
Yeah, I love what you have to say, Jack, about how this has continued to be able to allow people to sort of realize those dreams and come back to the importance of family, the importance of that place to come together, and that's an amazing thing for us to continue to remember. Your enthusiasm for real estate, I was just writing down all these notes. I mean, that whole concept of the incredible blending of natural resources, that is so beautiful. It was poetic, quite honestly. I haven't really thought about that. So you've kind of identified a lot of the buyer needs. As we've evolved into that, we continue to see, the work from home, the outdoor space, the family gathering spaces, all of that. Tell us a little bit about what you see as some of the seller needs that have evolved from the pandemic. That is different. I know you're primarily, well, I don't know if you are primarily a listing agent, but I know you certainly are a very strong listing agent. What do you
Until there were no listings, right? Now,
yeah, true.
I've done more buyer deals this year than I've done in the last 5 years. But anyway, the sellers really haven't changed all that much, except that some sellers are selling today because they've been thinking they're going to do it in the next 3 to 5 years. And they're thinking to themselves, you know what? I really don't want to do this right now, but this is so crazy. I should take advantage of this. So a lot of sellers are fast forwarding their lives, and they're scaling down now or scaling away or moving. We talked to some people over the weekend who are going to move closer to their grandkids. We have another house we just listed, same thing. They live in California, they come here for the summer, and their kids would rather go to Hawaii than come to Cape Cod. I don't know what they're thinking, but it's the same flight time. So they're going to sell their house. So people have the needs. The reasons for selling have not changed all that much, but the buyer side really hasn't changed either. It's just been magnified. Everything that people buy a house for, to connect, to reconnect, to reward yourself for, success in life, to recreate and all that stuff. Those are all magnified now. And then the importance of health and family has just become so apparent. I mean, I sit home through the whole pandemic and just think to myself, man, do we live in the best place or what? I mean, I have clients in Cyprus, which I think is near Greece, or maybe may even be in Greece. And they can't even go to the supermarket. They can't even take a walk outside unless they call the police and record and register to go for a walk in their neighborhood. We have clients in Germany, and same thing. They're allowed to take a walk in the neighborhood, but if they want to go to the grocery store, they have to call and get a permission slip to go to the grocery store. It's totally shut down. And in fact, we had one sale we couldn't close on because the seller was in Germany, and the only place you can get a notarization for a U.S. transfer is a consulate, and they shut down at Christmas time. We couldn't get a notarization until early May. And that's one more thing I'm going to mention about this pandemic that nobody is talking about, that nobody's noticed, except me. Anyway, so if you talk to agents across the country, and this blows me away. I don't care what market you talk about, they're all on fire. They're all exploding. I mean, people in Florida are buying $30 million homes sight unseen. I mean, the market's crazy everywhere. But guess who's not buying anything? Guess who hasn't bought anything in this crazy market that we've experienced for the past 12 months? Nobody knows. International buyers, 99% absent. Now we're coming into a point in time where the vaccines are getting rolled out around the world. People are going to be able to travel now. Can you imagine what's going to happen when the international buyers show up? I don't care if it's New York. I don't care if it's Miami. I don't care if it's the Hamptons. I don't care if it's Cape Cod. I don't care if it's out west. The international buyers, unless you're willing to buy a property sight unseen and not even move in or anything, which is rare, it happens, but it's rare. 99% of the international buyers have been absent. Yet our market is setting records all over the place. Can you imagine, and it's about to happen, when the international buyers can come back on the scene because we're all getting vaccinated. And suddenly, out of nowhere, COVID, what COVID? There's no COVID. No, you don't need a mask. You can go wherever you want now. So when they show up, there's going to be even more pressure on the inventory that we have. And I actually said this back in 2008, that I predicted a housing shortage because we were building about 2 million homes fewer per year than were needed to meet the rate of family formation and immigration. So we have everything coming together now, the pandemic, a housing shortage nationwide that's been building for like, what's 2008 from 2021, a long time. So times 2 million is a big shortfall. So it's all come together in the perfect storm. And so will real estate continue to go up, up, up and not go down, down, down? I don't know. I'm so bad at the future. I'm like the world's worst person at the future. But I do know that the fundamentals, the laws of economics would sort of lead to, I don't know, maybe it'll go down a little bit on the way up, but the overall trend has to be this. It has to be up because the dollar is just getting cheaper and cheaper. That's the other way to look at things. You know, houses really aren't going up. The stock market's not really going up. It's that the money's going down. Here's a great example. So when I started in business, I was finishing college in 1974, and I was thinking that I went to get gas on my 1967 lime green Ford Maverick with a black racing stripe on the hood and the 3-speed shift in the column that I talk about. And I pulled into the gas station on Route 9, and I think it was, I don't know where it was, between Wellesley and Boston, because I went to school, that's where I went to school. And the gas was up to 58 cents a gallon. And I'm like, 58 cents a gallon? I'm gonna have to sell my car. But even before that, I remember in Nelson's, he's been around probably longer than me. But do you remember, Nelson, do you remember when you could buy gas for 19 cents a gallon?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so here's the thing. So let me tell you this, and I haven't done this math, this is like all extemporaneous, but so 19 cents a gallon is very similar to 2 dimes, right? Because a dime is 10 cents, so if you round it off, that's 2 dimes. Well, back when gas was 19 cents a gallon, the dimes were made out of silver, okay? And so what's interesting is that 2021, 2 silver dimes will still buy a gallon of gas. So has gas gone up or has the money gone down? So that's really, when you look at pricing from that standpoint, we can argue that house prices are going up, but we could also argue that really the value of money is going down. And if that's the argument that you're choosing, it almost means that it has to continue. Because if houses were going up and money was staying stable, that would be hard to continue. But money going down with what's happening in Washington is going to keep continuing. And so I think house prices are going to go up. Houses are going to be more, it's going to take more dollars to buy a house. That's my prediction for what it's worth.
There was a question in the chat that's really a great one, but I just want to tag on to the comment you just made about the international buyers before we move on. So that being said, and it really is an amazing point, you're right, there has always been, you know, a lot of international buying, but the past year that has been very different in a couple different ways. But what would you, is there anything you would recommend to realtors who are interested in kind of being open to that, pursuing that, that they could position themselves now to sort of take advantage of or leverage some of that potential international buyer coming in soon?
Invest in the Rosetta Stone class, I guess. I don't know. Just be aware of it, because like here in Cape Cod, international buyers are a very minor, I mean, it's a really minor, but if you're in Boston, if you're in other places, it's huge.
Near university or major medical area, things like that.
Just realize that, holy mackerel, we're doing this all on our own. And once the international buyers show up, so it's a great thing to tell your buyers who are like throwing up over the price of the house that they have to overbid on to get. And well, right now you think the competition is bad now, wait till people can fly again.
Yeah, no kidding. So Cheryl brings up a great question. She said, Jack, what are some of your favorite listing tools? Maybe you want to expand on that, Cheryl. We're a small group. Let's just have a nice conversation if you want to jump in.
I remember taking your class, a 2-day class in Rhode Island, and I was quite impressed with the fact that you pay someone a lot of money to do the floor plans, and then you found out about this, I think it's called QB Casa.
Yeah.
And so that really, and I did actually get the app, and I'm still practicing with it, but I thought that was really awesome that you shared that. And then you also had some kind of a measuring device as well, like shaped like a pen, I think. And
Yeah, everyone
yeah, I
has.
just thought those were 2 fun little pearls that I took away, and I thought it'd be fun to share with our group.
Well, the tools are cool, but what's more cool is the process. And so I understand that it's a very competitive market here, especially for listings, especially now. And so, and I know that usually if I tell the truth, which is something I strive for, people are not going to necessarily like the number I give them for their house. So that means that there has to be a little bit of showmanship, I hate to say, in my process, so that when I go to their house for a listing appointment, if I'm the one who actually measures the house and creates a floor plan, even before I do, as I'm doing the CMA and make it part of my CMA, they're not really liking what I've done, but I have this process that they don't like my result necessarily, but they saw my process. And when they're comparing my result to the results of other people who just pull numbers out of the air or other places, and I come back to my process. And so, okay, well, they told you, well, okay, so yeah, we had one, I just did a listing, I just turned away a listing, and my competitors had 3.8, and I said, which I thought was low for him, and I said, perfect world, 2.9, but probably even less. 2.9 is a stretch. And I give my spreadsheets that we'll cover in the 1-day class with CRS. Here's how I got there. Here's my analysis. Here are all my benchmarks. Here are all my data points. I've reconciled them into my suggested go-to-market price. Let's look at them together. Look, this is what occurred in the marketplace. And as we think about the next precedent we might set with your price, looking at these benchmarks, these data points, what do you think your price should be? And by the way, what did the other person give you to support the 3.8? Because I know what he did. He just he has a dial back up, he just spins it. And wherever it points, that's what he says. So in his average, his listed sales price ratio, by the way, is 56%. So anyway, if you want, whatever, I'm getting off track. But anyway, the tools you talk about are part of the process, which is doing more than anyone else does. We outwork other people. We do more. And people say, why are you doing a floor plan when you haven't even listed the house yet? Well, because we want to list the house and we want to be different. We want to be better. We want to provide more value. We want to show that we really put a lot more into it. And by the way, I'm so forgetful as I get old now that it's helpful for me when I'm back crunching the numbers to look at the floor plan. And with QB Casa, truth be told, it's a great app, and I'll do it on smaller houses, but I still pay something else to do it because I forget if I've already done this room or not. So if I'm going through a big house with doing the QB Casa thing, I'm like, darn it, did I do that room? And then if you stop too long, you have to start over. So I still pay someone to do it, but it's a lot less than it used to be, and it's a lot quicker.
I have a commentary. Thank you so much, Jack. So first of all, I want to say I did the same thing. I bought silver, and silver, those bars are really heavy. So it was funny to hear you say that. I just wanted to, a plug for your book. This is required reading in my office that I have. I love this book. And one of the main takeaways in this that I use to this day is how you describe how you tell a person, take me through your house. Show me how you would like the house to be shown. That always landed with me. And I want to thank you for that. And do you want to expand on that, on your book? And Are you still offering the book? Is it still out there on Amazon?
Yep, still there on Amazon, and you can get it there. And yeah, that story came from this little old lady, beautiful little old lady. She was she's a lady who always wore. She's here on Cape Cod in a retirement home. Her husband passed away, so she's a widow. And I think when we sold her house, she was in her mid 80s, but she always wore a suit every day, even though she's on Cape Cod and she's retired. And they always matched the color of her eyes, which were the most incredible blue you'd ever seen. And her husband had worked for the phone company. As a result, they had moved all over the country like 25 times. So she really understood real estate. And so we were doing the whole thing. And at the very end of my presentation, she said this, she goes, John, no Jack for her, John, this all sounds very good. I want you now to take me to the front door of my house and show it to me like I'm the buyer. And that's when I very choked. I didn't know, I mean, but my process is that when a seller is showing me their house, I'm writing down all their hot buttons. Like I was at a house on Saturday and the seller is taking me through their house. And he's like, no, we call this room the quiet room because this is where we come at night to read, we turn on the fire. So, I mean, when he says quiet room, I'm writing that down. That's important to him. So I want to make sure that, so like in my CMA, I talk about the quiet room. I use his words again. So if they're talking, you should be writing because they're telling you what their hot buttons are. They're giving you the answers to the quiz before you get the quiz, which is when you deliver your listing presentation. So write down what their hot buttons are and use them in your copy, use them in your marketing, and use them in your presentation because they feel validated and they feel listened to and they take it very personally. It's funny, we were showing a house on a week ago today, Monday, people seeing the house for the first time that they bought sight unseen with inspections waived for $4 million. And in large part, they bought it over our video and all the stuff that we do to market a property. And we always tell a story. We tell sellers, part of what you're paying for when you hire me is that we uncover, we craft, we curate, and we convey a story for your property. And so the particular story for this property was the fact that it's a landmark. And so the buyers come in, they're broke, their buyer agent. And I kind of felt bad for him. But anyway, they're going on and on and on about the video. And we've memorized it, we've watched it a couple hundred times, we know everything. And I just want to ask you now, this is a landmark. We agree this house is a landmark, but you're not going to use that again, are you? You're not going to use that again on some other house, are you? I mean, they were taking ownership and possession of the story we conveyed in the video about this property being a landmark. And they were concerned that I was not going to use it again on another listing. You can't forget how personal this is to people. We are at the core of these incredibly personal journeys and decisions that people make, whether it's to buy or sell a house. We're in the thick of it. And we need to take it as seriously as they do. And I think that we do. But it just was illustrated to me again where this guy was truly worried that I might use the theme from the story of the house he just bought sight unseen, was seeing for the first time, and loved it, by the way, that I might use that same theme on another listing, which like a college professor uses their exams over and over again. I might have, now I can't. But anyway, I have to wait a couple of years anyway. I'll recycle it after a couple, maybe they'll forget. But anyway.
That's great. Jack, do you want to cover just a little bit? We have just about a couple minutes left, and we want to honor your time.
Sure.
Is just a little bit about the 2 day, it's 2 half days. So it's 10 to 2 on Thursday and Friday, 18th and 19th on Thursday and Friday. And I'm just wondering, just general synopsis of what you're going to cover in the class.
Interesting. I wonder what we're going to go. Anyway, so it's a 2-day luxury class, 8 hours. And it's never the same twice because every time I write it, every time I deliver it, I think of ways to make it better. So it's always a little bit different each time. And it basically is how to transition into higher price points, how to become an expert in 5 critical areas sellers and the high-end expertise in. So I teach you that. And we talked about the systems we talked about. I'm very systems oriented. You know, I struggle, you know, like Nelson Zide, not to keep picking on Nelson, but I've known him forever, but he's got this amazing personality. He just says, he walks into a house and people are like, where do I sign? I, on the other hand, am not a people person. I'm just not. And I have to like be like this technocrat. So I have to really, our success in life is 80% our people skills and 20% our technical ability. So I have to really work the 20%. And that's what the 2-day class is about, how to become better at the 20%. So if you have that, plus Nelson's personality or Lisa's personality, you have it made. Because
I need your technical skills, Jack. So I have the personality. I just need your technical skills.
right, well, we should team up sometime.
We
But
will,
anyway,
Jack.
But I mean, anyway, I'm not really kidding, because we do work. That's why we have a process for everything. So a large part of it, the 8-hour class, is developing systems and processes. You don't have to use mine. All I'm saying is that if you're going to price a listing for a seller, you need to have a process. I personally have a 7-step process. You may have a 5-step process. Someone else may have a 9-step process. It doesn't matter. Have a process. People need to know the higher you go in price point, how you came up with that number. And so, besides pulling it out of your hat. So the class is very process oriented. And if you have a great personality that you can mix with it, you can do way better than me. Way better. I hope that
Yeah,
helps.
we just cannot wait for that. Thank you so much, Jack. It's just been so great to just be able to share some time with you. And I know I will be there on the 17th and 18th, because as you say, I mean, not that you say something different every time, but there's always
We always add
amazing
stuff.
stories. Yeah, and a rare and beautiful place. I use that. Ask anyone who knows me. I swear to God, I say that all the time. And I often say, and Jack Cotton also, you know, Jack Cotton calls this a rare and beautiful place, and I have to agree, because it's true. And you know, we learn so much from you and from what you teach and your language and just the way you walk in the luxury world and the way you walk in the world as a realtor. Seriously, you are a great mentor and example for all of us. So thanks again. This has been amazing and wonderful. Looking forward to
Thank you,
seeing you.
Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You
See you
too.
next week. We actually have a YouTube video expert, Brad McCallum, who has built a luxury business and still drives around a truck because of the kinds of video that he's done over time. Met him on Clubhouse, actually came into, did a couple sessions on our Clubhouse room, and he'll be sharing some of that wisdom with us next Monday. So again, sign up for that class, only $99, an amazing value, 17th and 18th of June. And Jack, hopefully we will see you maybe at Chris for a $40 pizza.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye
So much,
all.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.